All right, well, hello everyone. So my name is Morgan, and it's super exciting to be here today. Now, for the past 5 years, I've worked as a barista, and it's what I still do today. However, for the past 3 years, I've been fully entrenched in social media through my platform, MorganDrinksCoffee, both on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. And I'll let you in on a little secret, is that I'm competing this weekend, so if I accidentally refer to you as judges, that's why. There's been some slip up. Now, on March 13th of 2020, TikTok user I Am Hannah Cho uploaded a video in which she whipped together instant coffee, sugar, along with a splash of water until it created a creamy consistency. Then she spooned it over a glass of milk and ice. Now, just by listing off that recipe, a lot of you probably know where I'm going with this. Very, very, very quickly, the trend of daikon coffee swept the internet. In that same month, instant coffee imports to South Korea, where the trend was even more popularized, saw an increase of 65% from the previous year. Nowadays, on TikTok, the hashtag daikon coffee has approximately 620 million views. On Instagram, the same hashtag has some 600,000 odd posts. What started as a simple at-home drink quickly turned into one of the largest online trends that we had ever seen in coffee, and it was spurred on in part by the pandemic quarantines that were happening at the same time. Now, simply enough, 2 years ago, coffee moved online in an unprecedented way, because with the mass closures of cafes, of storefronts and brick and mortar shops, hospitality, and more importantly, specialty coffee had to ask, what happens next? Now, clearly the answer lay somewhere in social media, where time and proximity don't hinder that sort of person-to-person connection. But making the pivot from treating social media simply as a tool to get people into seats to now treating it as the final destination was going to be difficult. So today, I want to talk about how we can make that pivot in a way that still promotes connection and expansion in our industry. So let's lay a little bit of the groundwork of how we talk about social media today. Since the beginning of the pandemic, we've seen an increase in overall social media usage of nearly 61%, leaving us with 1 billion Instagram users, 2.7 billion Facebook users, and TikTok, the short-form video vertical video platform, has seen an increase of 180%. Now, this all makes sense. More time spent at home means more time aimlessly scrolling. And when you can't leave your house, you look for other ways beyond your walls. Nowadays, that's through the lens of someone else's camera. But it's here that we come to the major challenge facing many brands nowadays when they think about social media, and that is the behemoth of video. With the rise of TikTok came its competitors. You have things like YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels. Short vertical video is what's being primarily consumed online right now, and it is by far the most effective way to reach your audience. In a survey by Biteable, 60% of surveyed marketers say that short vertical video has a higher return on investment than even Google Ads. Now, some of what I just said may seem a little bit overwhelming, and rightfully so, because justifying the amount of time, money, and more importantly, labor that goes into tackling video can be incredibly difficult. But I want you to leave today feeling empowered that it is entirely possible. So we're going to talk today about the 3 things that I always keep in mind when approaching video, social media, and coffee. And because I lack a little bit of originality in the naming game, we're going to call it the 3 golden rules of video. Number 1, video nowadays is king, but not production. I want you to think about how you spend your time online, what you're drawn to, and maybe more importantly, what you're not drawn to. Now, as people, we look for authenticity. We look for genuine emotion, and at the end of the day, we look for other people. In specialty coffee, and specifically within cafes, these are the same experiences that we seek to convey to customers. We create warm, inviting spaces that guests can call their own, even for just a short while. With the recent rise in video, we now have the opportunity to capture those experiences in a lasting format. This is incredibly, incredibly exciting. And the good news is the barrier of entry has never been lower. At one point, even as recently as 5 years ago, jumping into video meant large-scale productions and monetary investment, and that is simply not true anymore. Nowadays, I would wager that a majority of you in this room right now have all the tools that you need. But here's the even more exciting thing, is that we're already seeing success in this form of casual, friendly video with brands inside of the specialty coffee space. So let's look at a few. We start off with Golden Brown Coffee out of Australia. This is a brand who takes a video-forward approach, and they make short, bite-sized videos that are just as laden with information as they are humor. Their tone is friendly. It's jokey, the same way you would talk to a friend. Then we have Umashiso, who since day one has taken a video-forward approach to their marketing, and in that, they have a recognizable color palette and a friendly tone that welcomes all into their videos, especially viewers outside of the specialty coffee segment. Then we have Couplet Coffee, who has a unique approach of taking TikTok's trending audios and themes, but they tackle it with a coffee-centric twist in order to communicate effectively with their core market of Gen Z. Then we even have larger brands, such as Phil's Coffee, who has jumped into the short-form vertical video space. Their videos, while them being a bigger brand, are quick, casual. They are filmed in, created by, and acted in by their employees, their baristas. They take on a lighthearted and friendly edge to the daily ins and outs of cafe and barista life. All of these brands have demonstrated success in friendly, personality-driven video, which is incredibly, incredibly exciting because while the core aspects of video production, they're still in play. You have things like decent lighting, decent sound, some continuity. They're done quickly and efficiently in a way that wasn't even possible 5 years ago. This rise in video on social media has allowed for efficiency, quality, and quantity of content to be entirely possible. Next up, when we think about video, and especially in the context of coffee, we want to drive awareness, not sales. Now, as we continue to look at social media through the lens of experience, our language that we use has to change in order to reflect that. Nowadays, when we're looking online, there is just a deluge of content coming at consumers from all directions, meaning that we have to start somewhere in any hopes to stand out. Now, where we can start is shifting our language, not to speak to conversions and sales, but instead to awareness and knowledge. This instead creates a lasting connection with a customer. And your metrics for success are very, very different. Instead of things like revenue, profits, and conversions, you're instead looking at engagement, which is the views, the comments, the shares, and the likes that exist on these video assets that you've created. Now, these might not seem quite as important as the conversions, but I can convince you that they are, because instead of leaving a consumer and/or, at this point, your viewer, with a simple call to action to go purchase a product, you are leaving them with a meaningful connection. They engage with your content, and by proxy, your brand. This building trust with you in a way that will continue to make them a lasting consumer of your brand and your products. And your products are now videos. They exist separately, and they're consumed for free. But the exchange that is made is a relationship. Now, golden rule number 3. If it works in a cafe, why not online? Now, in specialty coffee, and once more, I'm speaking pretty specifically to cafes. As I mentioned before, we create warm, inviting, and welcoming spaces, and we do this through careful hiring. We do this through quality sourcing of ingredients, curated visual aesthetics, and most importantly, lasting person-to-person connections. None of this changes as we continue to move online. In fact, its importance is the same, if not more so. How we, as individuals and brands, present ourselves to the open sea of consumers beyond our little bubble of specialty coffee will influence our next wave of coffee. Because over the past 3 years that I have been creating content, I've seen a boom in creators and brands that are seeking to break down the walls around specialty coffee. We have empathy, we have authenticity, and we have education leading the way online, and that is a trend that I hope sticks around. Because frankly, the last 2 years in hospitality have been difficult. They've been really, really difficult. But coming out of it, I think I've come to a newfound appreciation about how coffee has been further globalized through the use of video and social media. We all have the tools we need. We've honed them through in-person hospitality. Now, we're just expressing them in new mediums. And to recap, these mediums don't have to be scary because number one, we can treat them casually. Number two, we can treat them as community. And number three, we can do both of those last things with the tools that we already have. That is very, very exciting to me because there is so much excitement and passion for coffee that exists online. There are the home brewers, the enthusiasts, and those who are simply curious and have added their videos to the numerous and uncountable amount of hashtags related to coffee online. They're out there, and they're very, very real. How and if we choose to reach them will be up to us. Thank you.